He's got a voice like solid gold and a twinkle in his eye. And keeping that eye firmly placed on our parliamentarian buddies is Tony Amos. We welcome Tony and the weekly political roundup.
Tony Amos, the last show for 2013.
Yes, Jared, a remarkable year it's been too, 2013. I mean, 13 has been the lucky number. Compared to the last previous couple of years, I think 2013 has been a better year for most of us, you know. And 2014, bring it on. It's going to be a wonderful year. Of course, next year as well as that, hate to put a damper on it, it's election year as well.
Ooh, more politics.
Here's Jared, our weekly look at the geeks and the freaks, the sooks and the crooks, the gots and the twats, those rooters and looters of public office we proudly call our politicians.
I always have to choose one. What about the rooters and the looters? What are they up to this week, Tony?
Oh, more rooting and more looting, Jared. You know what they do? They love it. They do it to each other, don't they? And to us. You know, any opportunity, they grab it. And they're good at that, I suppose. But, Jared, before we get into it, there's some breaking news.
Is there?
Breaking news, Jared. The Prime Minister has returned from Nelson Mandela's funeral and an overseas jaunt as well. He's returned with a new plan and a new vision. He wants New Zealand to set up its own space agency.
Right.
He wants us to join the space race.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. This part of the world, in the South Pacific. What a wonderful idea. We'll have astronauts. And he's already determined what the first mission will be with our space agency.
What is that, Tony?
Jared, he wants them to go on an expedition to establish and determine if there's any sign of intelligent life in Parliament.
Will they be successful, Tony?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Eh? We shall wait and see, Jared.
Well, it's been a bit of a year, Tony. 2013. Let's have a look at it. Let's look back.
We'll look back to bits of it, can't we? Politically, we'll look back to bits of it. Let's not forget some of the great politicians that we produce. Remember, who could forget Aaron Gilmore? Aaron, don't you know who I am? Gilmore. He was the National Party List MP who insulted a waiter, tried to beat the guy up with his authority. And what happened? Aaron Gilmore is now an ex-List MP. That's what happens, guys. Or Leaky Dunn, Peter Dunn, now known as Leaky Dunn around Parliament. Who did leak that GCSP information, Peter? John Memory Banks. Yes, the beast of Epsom. He's in court next year. What for? Electoral fraud. He leads a political party. He props up the government. And he's now going to be in court on electoral fraud, Jared. I mean, it's a bizarre and wonderful world in which we live, isn't it, eh? Then there's Auckland Super City and its grubby little mayor. The Ernst & Young report, they've had this inquiry commissioned by the CEO of Auckland City, Mr Mackay, who's about to depart, of course, and this is his farewell shot, the big inquiry into Len Brown's 2-year affair. Len Brown has been given a draft copy. I understand, Jared, from a good information, mate, from a very good source, it's more of a tornado than a draft. But we'll have to wait and hear from little Len Brown himself on that one, won't we, eh? But yes, Len, play with fire, you will get burnt. That's what happens. And just recently, Jared, in the last week, Nationalist MP Katrina Shanks, who's been an MP since 2007, she's resigning. She's found something with a lot more life in it to do than be a parliamentarian.
What's she going to do?
She's going to be CEO of the Funeral Directors Association. She is, that's for real.
A lot more life there.
Plenty more life there than Parliament, mate. Labour Party has a new leader. Started off this year with David Shearer. They changed the surname. Now it's David Cunliffe. You know, but it's given them a chance, I think. Shearer was a nice man, but not a leader. Cunliffe appears to have the touch of mongrel that it takes to be a parliamentarian leader. And Jared, one of the big things that's happened, one of the big things that helps us all hold our heads high and proud to be a Kiwi, our Prime Minister, Shonky Jonky, off he went to the funeral for President Mandela, or Madiba as he's known, of course, colloquially, and wisely he took David Cunliffe with him, who represents, I mean, between them they represent most of the country, to be fair, without being offensive to other parties. And then they also took Jim Bolger, why? Don McKinnon, why? And Peter Sharples, Maori Affairs Minister. But the beautiful quote from John Key about taking Peter Sharples was, he's coming to represent our Indigenous people. Well done. And I wonder if Shonky patted Peter on the top of the head as well at the same time. That would have been nice, Shonky. You know? But then the bit that really got us, the bit that made us hold our heads proud, was there was our Prime Minister there, and he now has a new name. He's now known as the Unidentified Guest. How embarrassing.
So what's the story there, Tony, you get for our viewers? I mean,
Well, there was a photo taken of John Key hanging out with his good mate, David Cameron, the UK Prime Minister. So an American newspaper, and a couple of papers, I understand, ran a photo of the two of them together, identified, chatting away, laughing, sharing a joke, identified David Cameron as the UK Prime Minister, accompanied by an, quote, unidentified guest. Mr. Unidentified Guest. We'll refer to him now as either Shonky Jonky or an unidentified guest. And wasn't Barack Obama wonderful? Wasn't Barack Obama? What a great speech. I mean, you can like him or not like Obama, but he's a great orator, isn't he, eh? He is a great speaker, and he commands it. He has the charisma and the X factor. He has all those things. And of course, he was welcomed with wide, warm, open arms into that arena, into South Africa, of course. And then he made that speech, and I was touched, and he was touched, and he said that as a young man, as a student, he'd done an essay on Mandela and really discovered and became aware of Mandela and was so impressed with him then, he decided to become a black man. Well, he had the choice. Mum is white, Dad is black, so he had the choice. He chose Mandela's side, and it's worked for him, hasn't it? Eh? Of course, he went on to become America's first half-black president.
You're on fire tonight for the last show, Tony. You're on fire tonight.
Blow me out. Jared, it's been a year. Not of good politics necessarily, but of good entertainment. If nothing else, you can always guarantee to expect the unexpected from our parliamentarians, which is why we love and cherish them so much.
And we cannot go, Tony, for 2013 without one little visit once again to our favourite friends in Wellington, the List MPs.
The dreaded List MPs, the members of Parliament that nobody voted for, but they are very important people. You just ask one of them. Anyway, Jared, this particular story is about a List MP on his way to Parliament one morning, kajang, hit by a bus, dead. It happens, mate, it happens. Suddenly, he's in an unexpected place. He's at the pearly gates. And there's St. Peter, and St. Peter comes out and says, oh, hello, he said, Mr. List MP. He said, hello. He said, this is a bit unusual. We don't get many of your type coming to this gate, he said, but he said, I tell you what, he said, it's had it unexpectedly. Often they do, he said. We're not used to having a high political official like you. He said, we'd like to give you a choice. And the List MP said, oh, I'm quite happy to be in heaven. And the List, and St. Peter said, no. He said, have the choice. He said, you can have the choice. You can have a look at hell and have a look at heaven and make the call if you wish. Oh, well, I'll do that. So he pushed the button and the fellow went down from the clouds and disappeared. And the lift doors opened. And what a beautiful sight. This lush green golf course it was, essentially, with swimming pools and people dressed in beautiful attire and drinking cocktails and food aplenty and everyone having a good time, lots of laughter. And he recognised so many of his ex-colleagues and supporters there as well, of course. And they welcomed, oh, come in. They said, yes, you're good to see you. Look, meet the devil. And the devil came over, more like a golf pro. Bit of a hard case, more than a devil, expectation-wise. And they got on like a house on fire, he and the devil. And they had a grand old time. And anyway, he told them that he'd have to go back and report to St. Peter, but he'd see them soon. And they said, oh, good luck. See you soon. And he got back in the lift doors closed, and up he went. Peter said, how was that? He said, oh, that was cool. He's very, very good. He said, well, St. Peter said, well, hang on. He said, don't make a decision until you've checked out heaven. Come in now and you'll have a look at heaven. So he went through the pearly gate doors, and there was heaven. Lots of soft clouds, people reclining, and gentle music playing, everything nice and soft and gentle. We're a bit boring perhaps, but nice and gentle and soft. A bit boring for him perhaps. So I had a look, and he went back out to St. Peter. He said, look, I've had a look. Thank you for that opportunity. He said, I've made the choice. He said, I want to go to hell. And St. Peter said, are you sure? I know so many people there. It looks like a really good place. I enjoy golf and having a good laugh. He said, it was wonderful. He said, I'm going to go there. And St. Peter said, well, it's your call. See you later. Push the button. Down he went. The lift went down into Middle Earth again, the doors opened, and there was this raging inferno, Jared. There was heat and hell and screaming, and it was the ghastly sight like he'd never seen in his life. And the devil came over and grabbed him by the neck and put him in a headlock and said, come with me. And the List MP was shattered. He said, well, hang on. He said, but when I was here earlier, he said, it was beautiful. He said, everything was fantastic. He said, yesterday we were campaigning. Today you voted for us. That's politics. See you next year.